Hey, good evening. Tonight we got a special broadcast. We got a panel of gentlemen. Tonight's broadcast is Trump and the Republican candidates. We're gonna start this off. Everybody's gonna give their position on the politics. We ain't criticizing nobody for any of their political beliefs. We're gonna support everyone and hear everybody out, and we're gonna have, as we say, men moving accordingly conversation. We're gonna start this off with Brad Leak. Brad, go ahead, brother.
Well, good evening, gentlemen. So for me, for life started on when I really started to understand life. I was on Montclair Avenue in Vauxhall, New Jersey, and one of the things that always helped me in life understand my position was the first of the month would come, and there's nobody who is more sought after than the mailman on the first of the month. I mean, we literally there would be times, and Quentin was with me. There would be times our mother would say, "Yo, go see what street he was on." We literally would go 3 or 4 streets and say, "He's 3 streets over. He'll be here soon." It literally once those checks hit the mail the first of the month, that's when the economy in Vauxhall started moving. So I say that to say, as I became an older gentleman, went to college, and was able to get what I call um, independence, financial independence, I always remembered in my mind when it came to voting how important it was my liberal upbringing and what social service meant. So I had to always, in my mind, be a Democrat because it was the Democrats who made sure that my community eat. I mean, literally, we tied the first of the month is when things happen. Even as a drug dealer, the first of the month is when things happen. You had to be prepared to hit the streets when the first of the month came. So social service and what the Democrats preach and what they stand for was really relevant to my life. So I remained a Democrat all this time. I will stop at that point for my introduction because that is the basis for why I remain a member of the Democratic Party.
Jeff, you can go.
I'm a Democrat in office. What always brought me to the Democratic Party was more, some of their underlying principles, healthcare, equal rights, education, income equality. So those are some of the things that draw me to Democratic Party. I'm also pro-choice, person, and I feel in the Republican Party there's uh, uh, no room for negotiation in that. So stay true. I'm with the Democrats.
Okay, Ben, your shot, brother.
Um, I grew up as a Democrat. I was in a Democrat family. I was never into politics. I come from a working family. So I had a lot of my family members depended was on welfare. So I know about First and the 15th. But my whole thing was like, as a Democrat, we was always watching the debates as a kid. It was always against the Republicans. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I came up. Like they always stood for something else. Like you know, it was a family thing. That's what I grew up into. So as debates when they made their points, it was always, oh, shut up, he ain't know what he talking about. So I grew up as a Democrat. So I was never into politics, and when Obama came along, I voted for Obama twice because I'm gonna tell you, like I really voted for him to because of history moment. You know what I'm saying? That I think that's everybody wanted to see a black man in the White House back then. So I voted for him twice. But I'm gonna say this: as a teenager, I read a book called "Behold the Pale Horse." When I read that book was like a different world into like beyond politics and who controlled the politics. So every move that was made, I say from George after 9/11, maybe from George Bush's maybe from 91, from the Gulf War on, every move that was made by presidents, I already perceived it before I knew what was the movement before it happened. So my political views is based behind the people who's controlling the politics. You might call me a conspiracy theorist, but you know, that's the way I've seen things. You know what I'm saying? From reading that book back in the day. This is before Alex Jones and everything like that. So I look at every political move, I look like it's calculated and it's controlled by somebody else. We might have control to a certain point, but the real moves that's being made is controlled by somebody else that controls both parties, the Republicans and the Democrats.
So this is why you're here. You're here to bring balance to the force.
Basically that. I mean, you know, I voted for Trump. I won't consider myself a Republican because I know like the Republican Party before him, like Jeff was saying, like, you know, certain stuff they stood for, you know, that party is still there though. But you gotta understand that Trump is a populist, just like similar to Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is not a Democrat. Bernie Sanders is a populist.
We're gonna get into that.
All right, I'll let you go. Go ahead.
All right. We don't want to speak ill. At the end of the day, we don't want to speak ill of either party. Yeah. We want to have the discussion on really what the discussion is Trump, and the discussion is the Democratic candidates. So when we get on Trump, let's start on him. I know that Trump is a polarizing figure. He's what I call a reality star, but he knew how to finesse that into being the president. I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Is there any policy that you know offhand that Trump has signed that has hurt you per se or the people that you deal with? Brad, you can start, Brad.
Well, for me, so I am a certified public accountant, and I hate taxes. I thought taxes should so there was limits that you could push to, and everybody would push to those limits. But if you were conservative, or if you didn't want to trigger an IRS, if you didn't want to trigger an IRS audit, you push to that limit. Well, Trump understood that, and whoever helped him design his tax return understood that. So they just set the itemized. They took the itemized deduction and said, okay, we're going to make that the limit for the standard. And so now everyone has less to do as far as maintaining their receipts. As an accountant, that affected me and made my life much easier because I didn't benefit from tax return. I did tax returns because people out of help. I didn't want to make my money off of tax returns. So that's one policy that, you know, he really, I mean, that was the first major change in the tax return in 50 years. And for Trump to get that done in his first term, in fact, he got it done within his probably first eight to 9 months. I don't think people understand how effective that was in getting that done so fast. So while he may not have had Congress, he really has been able to get some things done. And that's one that I thought of right off the bat.
I know that I remember before, Brad, when that happened, you had mentioned that, like, yo, if he get this tax thing done, it's serious. He ain't playing. I remember you had mentioned that before. Like, a lot of people, the common people, didn't realize the significance of him basically changing the whole tax format and everything.
Well, once you're doing your taxes a certain way, then that becomes commonplace. So you almost spend to how you're going to do your taxes. He changed everything right off the bat. One thing he did do, though, that hurt the middle class, that the middle class wasn't prepared for, and that's where the Republican policy comes into the matter is, if you were in the middle class and you had children in college, your children in college was over the age of 17 years old. You have been supporting them. You've been paying their tuition. You've been paying their car note. You've been paying their cell phone. And now all of a sudden you get the year end, you can no longer take that deduction on your tax return. And that absolutely hurt the middle class. That's why you heard a lot of people saying they owe more because they were claiming more deductions in their W-4 at the office. But when you got to do the tax return, so finally this year he put in a new W-4. So to anybody that's here that's listening, if you have an old W-4, you might want to look at the new W-4 to make sure that the right amount is coming out your taxes so that you don't owe at year end.
Jeff, do you know any policy offhand that has hurt you per se and hurt people that you know?
His what is it? If you pay more than you have to pay more than 10 grand in property tax to get the relief for home ownership, which I would say,
Yeah, state and local taxes as well as property. Yeah,
directly, hurt my whole constituency basically.
Because they work in New York City,
and
they work in New York City as well. Oh, they got big homes. They have homes with property taxes.
The homes, the rollback, the environmental rollbacks. It hasn't directly affected me, but it's affecting the people, in West Virginia and stuff that are getting, coal debris dumped back in their rivers and streams. That's a big deal for me. And I lost the other one.
What about you, Ben?
I would say the tax return and deductibles on the tax, like as Brad was saying, mostly. That's about it.
I just had
one more thing.
Go ahead, Jeff.
The assault on Obamacare. I mean, for me, is tough to deal with. Because they move forward, so much with universal health care that now to throw shots at it is it's been detrimental to it.
But when you say throw shots, I'm sorry, Q. When you say throw shots for my education purposes, but what changes has he made to Obamacare? I don't think he's been able to make any physical.
I know the changes. You don't have to pay if you don't have insurance. You got rid of that. So a lot of people, I guess the younger people who didn't need insurance, they didn't have to pay thousands or whatever it was for not having insurance.
I'm about to add Anthony Outler. But what were you saying, Jeff? As far as the changes, I think Ben came with the fines, right?
Yeah,
like the fines for not
trying to get rid of the individual mandate.
All right.
Basically, that was extortion, though. That was a tax. That was another tax, man. If you didn't have insurance, you get taxed.
Hold that.
That's why people rebelled against that. Some people had it and some people didn't.
Hey, Anthony, could you hear us? Hey, Anthony.
I know friends that benefit from it, though. I had a lot of friends that benefited from it, but certain people, like of the working class or a certain level of cash they was making, it was hitting them harder.
If I can respond to Benji, in fairness, this is the problem Obama had, and that's why people are knocking Bernie. But he took the next step that Obama was trying to make and couldn't take. So that's why he had, in order to get the synergies, you had to have more people on the program. And that's going to the universal people. So the more people you had on it, the more synergies that have. And then you have more people buying into it, the young people who don't get sick, who don't need the program, because they don't have time to be sick either. So they're not going to be hypochondriacs. They're not going to run to Overlook Hospital and act like they're sick and use their health care. So they needed the young people to get on the program. So you have more people buying in. Same way as you need people for Social Security. You need young people working and paying into Social Security. So that's why he wanted to tax you to give you the incentive. It was cheaper to get health care than it was to pay the tax.
All right, but you say all of that, you have to bring that to the people. You can't lie to the people and say, your health care is going to be the price of your phone bill and stuff like that, and you don't have to switch your doctor and all the crazy stuff. Huh?
Anthony having a little problems with his
he has to.
It's freezing.
So I had that problem too. He has to make sure that he's connected in the back. He has to go through the test, and he's probably not through the test.
Yeah, a lot of times
At the end of the day, the Supreme Court ruled that was a tax, an extra tax on Americans.
Okay. So now we got that first part of the Trump question out of the way. What do you guys think his major flaw is with his? What do you think his major flaw has been as the president, as the commander in chief? Go ahead, Jeff.
Humility. All in one word. I mean, you could be the greatest guy in the world if you don't treat people right and do the right thing and lead by example. It's useless. You know, you can't just like pee on your own legacy. You know, I feel like that's what he's doing. There's no humility, and for that, it's a killer for me.
Ben, go ahead.
I would have to say he's not fighting against censorship of the First Amendment. I'll say that, you know, because that has a lot to do with voting. That comes with when you block people's speech. That comes with like election meddling. I see it as election meddling. But people can't have ads, you know, certain stuff like that. Like, okay for now, but what about when Trump out of there? You know what I'm saying? You got to think about the repercussions. You know what I'm saying? Like, it might get something. You know, somebody might get in charge that might, you know, start censoring the left or something like that. You can't have censorship just because, you know, you don't think you don't like what somebody's saying. You should be able to, even if you win the argument, somebody's winning the argument, you try to censor them. That's not cool. I don't think he's doing enough about that because that controls elections.
Brad, what do you think his biggest flaw has been so far in office?
Well, since I'm on the show, I got to say something, but Jeff really hit it with humility. So I would go, if I would take it a step further, what Jeff said, I would say with humility would bring some compassion. And if he showed more compassion for people, then they can really try to understand that he's the president. Okay, we don't always agree, but at least he can act like he cares. And it's just sometimes he just doesn't act like he cares. He only cares for his base. And then that doesn't even allow people to respect him. And I think he could garner more respect if he shows some humility and some compassion.
I'm gonna ask you guys a question.
One thing, though, I don't even think he's trying to appeal to his base, more as he's just appealing to himself, and some people are following him. You know, I don't see him bending the knee to anybody.
I think his biggest flaw, before I ask you guys this next question about him, I think his biggest flaw is he hasn't stood up for people like me who love the Second Amendment. It may sound crazy, but if you don't live in a blue state, the Second Amendment is everything if you live in a red state. I never thought I would be a gun advocate as much as I am now, but living in New Jersey, I probably wouldn't be a gun advocate. But I don't live in New Jersey. I live in Pennsylvania, so I'm a gun advocate. So that's one of the biggest things I think he has. And with the humility, he doesn't act presidential, as people would say. He doesn't act real button up. He's a reality star, and I hate to say it, he's a reality TV star that really a lot of his stuff that he may be doing good is being overlooked because of his attitude. What you was about to say, Jeff?
No, I'm good.
I was about to ask you guys something. Something else I was about to ask y'all about this guy. How do you guys think that his legacy is going to be? How do you think he's going to be looked at? His legacy, short term and long term. You start with Benji.
I think his legacy long term is if he comes out on top, if he gets another term, his legacy is going to be about defeating globalism. You know, the way it was set up. You know, a lot of the presidents before him, I say even Reagan to up to Bush, Obama, they all had globalist policies. They all had they followed more of the world policies instead of the United States policies. So his legacy is going to be bringing nationalism back to different countries. So where, you know, they were being, you know, more nationalistic instead of being globalists. You know what I'm saying? Letting the elite make their rules and letting the elite make their decisions. You know what I'm saying? Giving the people more of a say. in that government somewhat.
Right.
This one is tough. I just want to believe his heart. I just don't. I don't know. Q. I don't know. I don't know.
Jeff, you can go ahead, Jeff.
I hope it's what changes, the country as a whole, that we start moving more towards, civil rights, equality for people. I hope everybody, realizes how bad he is and how terrible he was for the country. And I hope we just make a 360, turn around and move it the other way. Because right now we're just headed towards the wrong course. I mean, you could even just look on Facebook right now, man. Things are on fire. It's on fire. Everybody's on edge. Everybody's very.
Yeah, but Facebook activism hasn't changed. One Facebook activist has changed the community yet.
No,
I'm saying this.
Overall personalities and posts. It's very what is it? Destructive right now.
I'm gonna ask you guys a question, and this ties into what you're saying, Jeff. And I think this question will probably be a little harder than my last question. What is Donald Trump's base? Who is his base? Who is he speaking to?
I presume his base to be uneducated white folk who really think it is immigration and minorities who are stopping them from having a bigger piece of the pie. When they say make America great, it is they want the 1911, 1925, 1930 America again, where everyone knew their place. At least we only had to deal with the Negro, and the Negro knew its place. The new immigration has really, really made the conservative white man the minority, and his own, and to them in his own country, he has become the minority, and that's who Trump speaks to, and that is dangerous. To me, it's very dangerous conversation.
Ben,
what was the question again?
Who do you think is the president's base? Who is he talking to?
His base he's a populist, so his base is a little bit of what Brad said. His base is 34% of the black population, and and a lot of the Latino population. So whatever, a lot of stuff they feed to you in the media is fake. When people vote their pockets. You know what I'm saying? The economy doing good. Everybody got a job. I don't know about everybody else, but since 2006, I'm making about $12 more than what I was making in 2006. I can't speak for everybody else. But
Benji,
if you put money in people's pocket, you know what I'm saying? They roll it with you. Like I said, 34% of the black population. The numbers don't lie. He gave $1 billion. He gave $1 billion to the black community and the urban. I don't know how that money's being shifted out. I think it's the small business. I don't know how that worked, but he put that money there. Obama never did that.
Benji, the only thing I have to challenge you on that 34% black population is black conservatives will never vote for abortion, ever. So they are voting Republican. I have a cousin, his name is James Leake. I love him to death. He was in this chat. He will tell you he will never vote Democrat as long as they are supporting
right. I got something to add to that too. Now, a lot of people say, Trump is racist toward Latinos. Latinos is in the same boat. Latinos love families. They have the most children out of everybody. They hate abortion. So, a lot of Latinos, they vote Republican for the same reason. They despise abortion.
They're Catholic. They love kids. They're hardcore Catholics.
So even though you want to bring immigrants in, you want to have and make it seem like that, they're not stupid. They already know what's going on. Like, you can't pull a wool over their head about abortion if that's not their belief. They're voting against it.
So I wanted to just bring Trump up and talk about Trump, but I'm quite sure you guys are realizing of what's going on in the Democratic Party. So
Where's Otler at?
I just wanted to bring.
I can't believe we don't have a hardcore Democrat.
Yeah, where Otler?
I'm sure Jeff is going to tote the company line, but unfortunately, I am not one of Jeff's constituents, so I'm not afraid to let the real conversation me and Jeff have.
Sure.
Jeff is not a hardcore. Moderate Democrat. I mean, he's a progressive.
I will say this, that
progressive. Is moderate and progressive one and the same? He's not a conservative. Jeff is not a black.
He's an AOC Democrat.
He's not a black conservative.
No.
I see he got the red on. I see he got the red on. Is he a communist?
I need
easy. Y'all jumping the man. Relax. Look, we're gonna the reason why I brought up Trump first is because I believe that his politics really aren't in the forefront. It's more of the extra, as they say, the trimmings, and nobody really knows his politics. I asked you three guys because I know you three guys would know. So now we get to the Democratic Party, and I'm gonna start this off with Jeff. What the hell is going on in the Democratic Party?
How could you ask a question like that?
I would agree. I'm with it. It is kind of disgraceful.
Oh God.
It's very sad, the age. You have your Bernie Sanders people always talking about, they don't want old white men in office. However, they're following the oldest white man in the race. And for Biden, Biden, you could tell he's losing it, What are they saying, the cognitive dissonance or some term? I mean, there's some losses there. I mean, for me, I would have been, looking at the field, I was leaning more towards Pete Buttigieg, Amy Klobuchar, and I'm just dealing with the things they're giving me. You know what I mean? Those aren't, for me, I wish Hakeem Jeffries, maybe if this happened a year later, 2021, I think Hakeem Jeffries would have been perfect. For me, that would have probably been my ideal candidate.
Jeff, I know, just before I ask Brad and Benji, I know Hakeem Jeffries is on the rise, but if you knew who his uncle was, they won't make him president.
Who's his uncle?
That's Leonard Jeffries' nephew.
Leonard Jeffries?
Yeah, and he's not going to denounce his nephew. I mean, he's not going to denounce his uncle. But anyway,
Leonard Jeffries from where? New York?
Yeah, Dr. Leonard Jeffries. That's his uncle.
Okay.
But anyway, and his politics could be totally different than his uncle. So Jeff, we have Biden, we have Bernie Sanders, we have Donald Trump. Tulsi Gabbard is still in the race. You don't think she has a chance?
No chance.
That's my girl, man. They're shooting themselves in the foot with that, man. That was the only person who stood a chance. But she was more like a populist. But she speak the truth. You let Hillary Clinton come from the sidelines and say she's a Russian, and then everybody jump on the bandwagon. Like, that's why, that group think with the Democrats, that's gonna be a downfall, man.
Now I gotta get Brad in here because he has named himself the Confused Democrat. And anybody that know anything about Brad is very, very passionate. And one of the things that I personally don't like to see is a passionate person like him in politics, because it's not a good mix. No. Brad, what do you got to say about the Democratic Party?
So let's set the mindset for the thinking, right? Because I think that's where I get in trouble, especially with my wife. So me and Quentin get into this discussion type stuff. We come from an objective perspective, meaning we want to look at everything we say out our mouth. We want to have already thought about from a fact-based position. We try to take a lot of opinion out of things, especially when it comes to politics and religion. So it takes the emotion out, right? So as we sit back and look at the candidates talk to us, I am still concerned. Remember what I told you. I still vote Democrat because I believe in the social services that the Democrats believe in. In order to get out of social services, you have to uplift the people. You have to empower the people. You can't just push money to programs that have no accountability, because while we're funding the programs, the lack of accountability is not doing. So, for example, I run public housing. Public housing is the housing of last resort. It is temporary housing. It is where you're supposed to come and stay while you save your money and then move out of public housing. But what the Democrats have allowed is to have generation after generation after generation in public housing. So then we don't have upliftment. So I fell in love with Bernie Sanders for one reason and one reason only, because 90% of the time he talks, he speaks to the poor people of America. He doesn't care about the race. He doesn't care, because poor people anywhere, I'm gonna use the cheap Martin Luther King line. Poor people anywhere is a threat to rich people everywhere. The more poor people you have, the less uncomfortable it is to be rich. And rich people don't see it now, but I promise you that the social economics of America is what will destroy this company. So while my wife says, you want to be a socialist, no, I don't want to be a socialist, but I want to do something. So when Quentin speaks to my passion says something has to be done now. I want to do something to at least stop the gap. Stop the gap from growing. Let's stop the gap. If we stop the gap, then we can fix problems. While we're sitting here playing games, the gap is growing, and people are struggling. And I say our people because, Jeff, I love everybody, but I focus on Black people because I grew up around Black people. I only know Black people. I'm sorry. I can't say I only know Black people, but that is where I am a tribalist. I am absolutely a tribalist. I hope
Brad,
that
let me ask you a question, Brad. Do you think Bernie's, that is one of his strengths, but you think in that strength, do you think if he was specifically saying this is a Black agenda, he would win, or because he's using that word that most people don't like, that saying people of color, because people of color puts everybody into one class. Some people of color may not feel like they're Black. You think if he was speaking directly to the Democratic Black base, which is 40% of Black people are Democrats, if he was speaking specifically with a Black agenda and changing that wealth gap, do you think Bernie would get more support?
Unfortunately, Clinton, I tried to put up here that the Democrats on the screen, that's why I'm facing the screen. I wanted to put up here that the Democrats have hustled the Black community for a profit. The establishment of the Democrats, the core, from Pelosi down. So even our local politics, and I don't want to start no problems with nobody locally because I'm in good light. But even the local, that's the establishment. That dollar that comes to the local comes from the establishment. And as long as that dollar is strung together the way it is, the Black people can't come too far away from that dollar. Politicians who have been allowed to become politicians have become politicians off that dollar. So you're not going to, and then you have a base that you protect. So a bulk of the Black people are tied to that dollar. Bernie Sanders hasn't pushed that dollar. Bernie Sanders has come in and shaken all that money up. Bernie Sanders is to the Democratic Party what Donald Trump is to the Republican Party. So no, he wouldn't get more votes. The Republican Party are free. In fact, Donald Trump grew the Republican Party. The base grew under Donald Trump. That's why they're all scared of him now. It grew. The Democratic Party isn't growing. It's only growing because more liberals are born every day. 2 liberals are born for every conservative. That's the only reason the Democratic Party is growing.
Jeff, what do you think, Jeff? You think the Democratic Party has splintered its base, or because they're two different people? Biden and Sanders is two different ideologies within the Democratic Party.
It's definitely fractured right now, and I compare progressives to the Tea Party, of yesteryear. That's the comparison I use. And it is. I mean, it seems like the progressives, I mean, they look for the perfect person. Unfortunately, none of us are perfect. There seems to be those purity tests, like how Buttigieg would say it. And it's tough stuff. The Republicans, they're just all falling in line right now. They have their guy, and we're just a mess. And, the Republican Party cured itself of, the Tea Party. And, I hope the progressives come around, a little bit, at least to find a middle way. It's they're, either, they're far left, and, there's got to be common ground. We have to unite,
Jeff, before I get to Ben, I believe, and I'm not a great or big Nancy Pelosi fan, but I think Nancy Pelosi has tried to tell the progressives, like, look, y'all need to relax a little bit, because how y'all coming, y'all have destroyed the whole party. I think she's tried to, like, put a lid on some of their stuff, but as the Speaker of the House, she hasn't done it publicly, but I think quietly, because the last 6 months they've been kind of quiet, that groundswell of what's been going on within the party, and I think she kind of like put a cap on it. Ben, being that Benji, I know you are not a fan of what's going on in the Democratic Party right now.
I don't know what's going on. I don't even watch. But no, I know Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is he in the same position Trump was in back when Trump was running. And Hillary was just sitting there because they had Hillary. She ain't had no competition. But the Republican Party was trying to knock him off left and right because he wasn't a Republican. He wasn't a Republican. He was a Democrat before. And he was a populist. That's what he is, just like Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is a populist. He's literally not a Democrat. He's an independent. So that's their whole thing. That they say, oh, he's an independent. He can never get the vote. So they're going to try to knock him off. And I believe Bernie Sanders really don't want to be president anyway. I don't think he really wants to be president. I think he just wants the money, and then he's just going to step aside. I don't think he want to challenge Biden because, he was winning on the polls. Then all of a sudden, Biden pulls out some wins and get the delegates. They doing the same thing they did to him with Hillary. Him and Hillary was going at it. They was giving the delegates to Hillary. They giving the delegates to Biden now. He's up there like he's up there like he has dementia, and Bernie Sanders, at least Bernie Sanders still has it all there. He can talk, have complete sentences and shit. So it's crazy, man.
One of the
go ahead.
One of the luxuries in New Jersey is usually by the time the Democratic primary gets to us, it's already decided.
Yeah. And so I was saying what Brad Leak was talking about local politics. Like, yeah, I know all politics is local. So last time, I voted for Trump, but I didn't go Republican all down the line. You know what I'm saying? I did Democrat locally. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a local issue. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. So next time, I don't know what I'm gonna do next time because, I might just go Republican all down the line next time. And I'm an independent, but it's just like I don't agree. I don't agree with all the abortion stuff. I don't agree with all of the transsexual reading the kids and all that stuff they pushing. And there's a lot of people in the Black community and the Latino community don't go with that. I don't know why they can't see that. You know what I'm saying? Latino is family based. A lot of us are family based, so we don't jive with that abortion. And I was saying about they platform. Sometimes they have like the abortion problem, the abortion issue, and like the transgenders reading the kids and stuff like that. They behind like that stuff will throw people off, man. Like you can't if that's the whole. Why is that first and foremost? Why is that in front?
Well,
you know what I'm saying? You should have issues that's dealing with the people, like jobs and stuff. Bringing jobs back.
I can speak to that a little bit. Is that one thing that I'm learning, and you guys may have a different opinion, is that in order to have a voice, you have to show your voter block. And right now in the LGBT community, they may not have a lot of numbers per se, but they have a lot of assets to push behind the candidate. a lot of times with our issues, we may be all over the place with a candidate. So we don't want to put our money down and our resources down with a candidate. Like we always talk about on Facebook with the Asian community. The Asian community has the lowest voter turnout out of any community, but they have the largest voting block because they put all their resources together and they get a candidate who's going to speak for them and to them. And unfortunately, that as African Americans, we haven't had that probably since the 60s. We haven't had a candidate where we've been behind and that has been our voice. One of the things that I learned with Dr. King was smart in this aspect. People could say what they want to say about the Civil Rights Bill, but he got the Civil Rights Bill signed by Lyndon Johnson regardless. He was trying to get that signed. Whether we like it or not, it has its pros and cons. Kennedy kept dragging his feet on it. Kennedy got killed. He still got the bill signed. We unfortunately, those in power, the people I don't like, anybody that know me know I do not like the Congressional Black Caucus because they have done a disservice to their constituents. They're just in the way.
The Congressional Boule Caucus.
They just in the way. So Jeff, let me ask you a question, and Brad, you can speak to this as well as Ben. Matter of fact, I go with Brad first. Do you think the Democratic Party's biggest problem the last 5 years have been the stronghold that the Clintons have had on it?
And the whole establishment that goes right back to what I'm saying. The Clintons have pushed themselves to the front of the establishment. Obama, I thought, would break it up, but Nancy Pelosi, and they pulled his tail quick, and he became part of the establishment. And it's just really more of the same. That's been the problem with the party. And I really thought that they would push Booker more. I really thought they really just let everybody else fend for self. And once they said, you know what, it's Trump, we're gonna push Biden. They just keep looking within the establishment to decide who's gonna be the leader of the party.
That's why I said they need Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard, she's anti-establishment. She's anti-Hillary. She's suing Hillary Clinton. They need her. She's like a pop. She can get up there and go toe to toe with Trump. That's the only one that can get up there and literally go toe to toe with Trump.
She's pretty.
And they just pushing her to the side. She's still in the race though. You know, so if they smart, they might want to make her a vice president.
Well, everybody's still in the race. Everybody's still in the race is because they still have a big enough base for a splintered party, then they can have their say and get what they want. She's smart, and in Hawaii, man, get what they need off of that situation. Whoever's going to be the candidate has to promise they're going to do X, Y for her base.
Jeff, what do you think, Jeff?
Well, I just want to go ahead and just say Cory Booker's a weak candidate. I'm sorry.
Agreed.
All right, let's get that one out of the way.
I didn't ask that, but you want
No, but Brad brought it up.
I want you to explain why you think he's weak.
I think my man, Mr. Booker, didn't make it too far because he's not that great of a presidential candidate.
Nope.
I don't think the Democratic Party needed to put the boots on him. I think he does it himself with his with the poetry he likes to throw out all the time, closing his eyes, getting real passionate and deep. It doesn't even seem genuine, to tell you the truth. And then what was
Jeff, let me ask you a question, Jeff, if you don't mind. And I'm speaking to you because you are the only white guy that's on the panel. And a lot of you may not see what we see as black men growing up in this country.
Yep.
Do you feel like the Democratic? How can I say this?
I see where you're going.
Do you feel like the Democratic Party has spoken to its black constituents?
No. I'm with Brad with a lot of the stuff. Where he was coming from, but no, I don't think they have a diverse field. It's just you don't have too many people speaking out of line per se, if that's what you want. Speaking up, fighting civil rights activists. I feel, they have a lot of diversity, but they fall in line.
The reason why I asked you that, Jeff, is that when we opened up, Brad spoke about how when we were kids and waiting on the government assistance, and historically, I believe a lot of the younger generation is starting to see how the Democratic Party, with their policies, have basically destroyed the black community,
crippled us.
And not blaming them for everything, but it's like every policy was their fault. Like welfare was their fault, and it took for us that seen it took the father out of the homes and so forth and so on. So it really, like, in hindsight now, looking back at it 40 years ago, like, yo, y'all really destroyed us, and we've always been loyal to the Democratic Party for the last 60 years.
Yeah,
How do you think it would have been if there were Republicans?
Well, it happened.
With crack.
Most black people were Republicans, but during the 50s and the 60s, the reason why a lot of the blacks left the Republican Party is because of the Civil Rights Act. They were dragging their feet with signing it, and then the Democratic Party, once the blacks came to the Democratic Party, the Dixiecrats in the Democratic Party went and became Republican because of the racial element. Because the racial element has always been in one of the parties over the others. I personally believe that it's in the Democratic Party as well. And
I believe all of them didn't go. I believe some of them went. A lot of them stayed. Like, you see the governor in Virginia, he got the blackface. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them stayed. His attorney general, blackface. And they still in office. It wasn't no type of problems. If that was, believe me, if they was Republicans, they would have got the boot.
So
would have got the boot.
I like the ad lib, Ben. Thank you. But anyway, right? Look, so Jeff, the reason why I was speaking to you directly about that is because that is something that a lot of informed African Americans, the Democratic Party has to answer to the black people. It's the time that they have to answer to black people, because black people are frustrated because we've been voting just because it's Democrat.
Or right. Q, I'll give them a pass, even if they don't want to set a policy for one race, right? Because that might turn some white folks off from the party and make them go somewhere else, right? Even if they don't want to do something for the middle class. A lot of the black people whose family has been here a long time have at least made it to middle class. Do something for the middle class. The middle class will spend. The middle class will give, because middle class know we're so close to living check to check. We'll do something for the poor. We don't need the rich. If you strengthen the middle class, you'll see improvement in the African American community.
Hey, Benji, you got a question from one of our listeners. How did voting for Trump benefit you?
Oh, it benefited me with my paycheck, like I said before. Like I'm making more money now. I'm able to do more, save more. You know what I'm saying? And me personally, save more. So I would say that's the biggest benefit. You know?
Let me say something. Let me respond to that. And first, let me say something, Jeff. We didn't have a lot of fathers in the community. Benji's father, oh my goodness, is one of the strongest men I've ever met in my life. He has been such a role model to us. I know that I was a better father to my children because I watched how Benji was to us in the community. Because if we was around Benji, we had to be a certain way. We wasn't going to be off the hook and be around his son. And Benji was a big boy. Benji moved well in the community. So he was everywhere. If you was going to be around Benji, you had to act a certain way. His father would stand right at the gate. One of the only parents that stood out there and cared, but stayed cool. Grab the ball, shoot with us and everything. Stayed cool. He wasn't overbearing, but he knew he was right. We knew he was right there. So I needed to say that. But
I appreciate
Benji,
that.
But Benji, do you not? So what I feel, you don't feel. So at some point, you telling me I can have free conscience to vote for my wallet at some point in time, and not really care where I come from. I can vote for my wallet because
That
that's
wasn't
what
the only thing. When I voted for him, when I first voted for him, I wouldn't vote for my wallet. I voted because I ain't like Hillary Clinton. I know a lot the dirt on her. I know I wasn't voting for her. I was just taking a chance. I was gambling like everybody else. Like he talk a good game. Let me see what he can do. Because everybody else been talked a good game. Ain't shit happened. You know what I'm saying? Everybody talked a good game, but shit happened. The records speak for themselves. He made numbers, all-time highs and all-time black unemployment, all-time unemployment. The numbers speak for themselves. Now, after that, you know what I'm saying? That's what it is. I didn't vote for him off bat thinking he would do this shit. I voted for him because I ain't want nothing to do with Hillary Clinton. I know what she was about. And a lot of people did like that.
So how do you guys feel about, like I said, it's always questions behind questions. How do you guys feel about Brexit?
I feel like that's the same thing as the globalist situation here. Like, it's get everybody around the globe is getting away from. You said Brexit?
Not Brexit. Brexit. All the blacks that's leaving the Democratic Party. Candace Owens and so forth.
That's snowballing. That's because he got in and he did something. If he got in and went to the establishment like they was trying to do, first they didn't want him in there at all. But once he got in, they was like, all right, he's in here. They try to co-opt him. When as he was moving along, passing executive orders and doing stuff like that to benefit black people, then everybody jumped on board. Like a lot of people wasn't on board. They was just gonna see what he was gonna do. When he came with the $100 million and funding the HSBCUs for indefinitely, know what I'm saying? Until somebody stop it.
See, it's dangerous. It's dangerous
Go ahead.
It's dangerous that Anthony Outler didn't come on here because he's a hard Democrat. He has some. Benji has put up a legit argument on why someone can vote for Donald Trump with their conscience. Whoever asked that question, they wanted to see if they could find a weakness in Benji's conscience, and he was able to show you why he voted. And I got to be honest, man. The conversation we're having tonight. That's why I was so scared to have this conversation. I've learned the positives of the Republican Party probably when I was 26, 27 years old.
I wouldn't say the Republican Party though, because I still don't agree with some of the neocons and the war and all that. I don't agree with their policies. I don't agree with their economic policies, because if it was anybody else, like Mitt Romney, George Bush, or anybody else, one of them, it would have been a whole different story. That's why after Trump out, it has to be somebody else like a same type of figure that's a populist and is not swayed by the establishment, because the establishment is both Democrat and Republican. They'll get right back to that globalist agenda. Know what I'm saying?
But Benji, it's dangerous what you're saying.
I know it's dangerous what I'm saying. I got common sense.
Well,
a lot of people don't, you know.
Well,
it's simple common sense.
I agree that at some point Trump wasn't a Republican, but don't you believe he's more Republican today than he was 5 years ago?
He has to be, because that's who if he want to get anything done, he got to deal with those people.
Yeah, but on one hand, you're saying that you don't follow Republican policy and procedure, you follow Trump, but Trump has now become a full-fledged Republican.
I don't think he's a full-fledged. A lot of them Republicans don't like him. They just going along not to get out of office because they know he's a populist. He's not a Republican. He's not. They don't like him. You understand that? Just like the Democrats don't like Bernie Sanders. That's the same difference. So you think Bernie Sanders get in and be a Democrat? No. He'll get in and try to implement some socialist, some communist shit. Know what I'm saying? So that's why they don't like him.
Hold up, man.
So if you played this live back, you'd hear me say that Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump were one and the same to their parties.
I said the same thing.
So I agree with you 100%. But Donald Trump has a Republican agenda now. He has adopted. There's not too much that he's doing. There's one thing that the Republicans wasn't doing is immigration, and he got his legs clipped. He realized he can't get no money from Congress. The money he can get from Congress, he can get from Congress. So he's not immigration. You see, he don't talk about that.
Is he a Republican when it comes to bringing jobs back? Because you know the Republicans is all about shipping jobs overseas.
Yeah.
Democrat. That was supposed to be the Democrat stance, bringing jobs back and helping the middle class. That he actually did that. You think Republicans like him for that? They try to stop him the whole line. They want them jobs overseas. It's cheaper. Let
me bring it back because I don't.
That's where the Democrats messed up. They was talking a good game, but they didn't do it.
Ben, hold on.
You get somebody to do it. And
Ben, hold on for a second. Okay. This part of the show is not about Trump. Let's keep it on the Democratic Party for a second. We're gonna get back to Trump in a second. Jeff, because we were talking about the Democratic candidates, what can the party do, in your opinion, from now into November to beat Donald Trump?
Wow.
Start talking about our values and stop concentrating too much on Donald Trump. You know, we got to talk about democratic principles instead of concentrating on everything Donald Trump's doing. And right now it's tough to get these conversations going because, you know, it's the debates and how distracted things get. But once we start talking about our values again, you know, you're gonna find that you know, those people that are wandering a little more towards the Republicans are going to come right back. Because
I will say,
what values are those? What values are those?
Ben, hold on.
Ben, what I was going to tell you was that.
Hold on.
Let me tell you the values.
Relax, man.
Republicans have fought.
I'm gonna mute you guys. Don't make me mute you guys. Relax.
Shut that mic off, Q.
Relax.
Shut that mic off.
Look, I will say, objectively, I have not seen Joe Biden's agenda. I've seen Bernie Sanders' agenda. I have not seen Joe Biden, who's in the front runner. He doesn't even have an agenda. He doesn't have an agenda. So this is the scary part that the reason why I asked Jeff, what can the party do? Because really, the last 5 years, all we've heard was Trump, Ukraine, impeachment. It's like every
Russian collusion.
In fairness, he has an agenda. His agenda is, I'm going to be like Obama. That's his agenda.
So Jeff, what do you think realistically? Because right now after Super Tuesday, it's the split in the party is bigger than ever. Because people don't understand, because everybody gets on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and have all these polls. But Tuesday, the voters spoke. That's one thing we got to get straight. Tuesdays, the voters spoke, and they want Joe Biden to be their president as of right now. What do you think needs to happen in November to beat Donald Trump?
You know, we need, everybody's got to come out and vote. You know, it's plain and simple. You know, I think Hillary Clinton kept a lot of people home, and, or like Benji that, voted for Trump. I don't think it wasn't easy to vote for, let's say, so I think a better candidate, which is basically anyone, is going to draw more numbers, I'm hoping. But again, I have political exhaustion right now, between all the things. And now with the coronavirus, it's like somebody's dropping a big elbow on us. It's just, it's overbearing right now. Just turn off your TVs, people.
Ben, I'm about to put you on timeout, Ben. You at the edge of your seat, cuz just chill for a minute. Brad, wait.
But
Brad, the confused Democrat. I keep saying it every time I look at the screen. I can't put the laugh. But honestly, what could they do, Brad?
Oh man. I'm so torn into really seeing how much America wants to fight for poor people. So what could they do? They're going to have to pull an amazing vice presidential candidate, an amazing one that They might even have to pull a rabbit out the hat. And if they can do that and put a lot of conversation around it, like they tried to do with McCain and Sarah Palin, try to put a lot of conversation around them, but not make it as clowny as that, but as aggressive a move, then maybe they can put some spice to Joe Biden. Joe Biden looks bland. He looks really, really bland. He does not give me an Obama feel at all. I could like Benji said, at least Obama gave me a feel. I don't get the Joe Biden does not give me Obama vibes at all. So the fact that they're selling that like that is fraudulent to me. It doesn't touch my heart, Q. So maybe they could pull a vice presidential candidate that could touch my heart. That could say, all right, I'm going to run with it.
But I'm gonna ask you a question real quick before we get to Ben Brad. With that, wouldn't it seem to be just symbolic? Because the three ones that was floating around on Twitter was Kamala, Stacey, or Michelle Obama.
We're gonna get to Benji very fast. The whole candidacy is symbolic. The whole thing is about what Jeff said, Donald Trump. Black people have come to hate Donald Trump so much. Hardcore liberals have come to hate Donald Trump so much that the base is just going to rally around beating Donald Trump. That's what they're going to tell Bernie. Bernie, this is about beating Donald Trump. It's not about fixing the economy. It's not about fixing universal health care. It's about beating Donald Trump. And that's corny. That's really corny.
Do you think hold on, Ben? Do you think within the party they could give Bernie enough butter biscuits to go for that? because Brad, last time we know, because the way Hillary did him, a lot of his supporters was like, we ain't going to the polls. Or anybody but Hillary. They even started that hashtag last time. Do you think that the Democrat, because the Clintons still got the strong, and she even said now, recently, he's not a capable enough president. She's still throwing shots. Like, I don't know what she has against this guy.
What do you mean what she has against? She tells you he's the reason she lost the election. What do you mean what she got against him? That's what she has against him.
I personally think she's the reason why she lost the election. But do you think that they have enough butter biscuits to get him to fall in line?
Again, I'm gonna let you roll right to Benji. Bernie's taking his ball and going home.
Yep. That's what I said. He don't want to win.
Go ahead.
He don't want to win. He just want the money.
Now, for audience purposes, Jeff probably don't know Benji well, like me and Brad. Benji has been the most antagonistic to the Democratic establishment on Facebook as anybody I know. He been ripping them to threads. He's loving what's going on. This is Benji's
before Trump got it.
Trust me, after being married and having his kids, this is one of Benji's highlights in the last 20 years because he's loving this. He loves what they're doing. He loves the dysfunction. So
you said how you beat Trump? Who they gonna get to beat Trump? Right? That's what you said.
Yes, that's the question.
Who beat Trump already, per se? Who beat Trump in the popular vote?
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary.
That's who they're gonna try to get to beat Trump. Believe me. Watch.
Is the vice?
Mark my words.
She's gonna pop up out of nowhere.
Joe Biden gonna say something real ignorant. Everybody gonna be like, "Oh, well, we have to get Hillary now." She has all the money. Everybody still listen to her. She can get all the delegates that she wants. They can go to a broker convention. At the convention, get Mike Bloomberg behind her with the money. It's gonna be Hillary. And her argument is she beat him. Her argument is going to be she beat him before.
So Ben, you think going into the convention they're gonna have a broken ticket and then she's gonna appear out of nowhere?
It's gonna be a brokered convention where where everybody, the delegates get to pick.
Elizabeth Warren ain't going for that. She got a lot of money too.
She's out of it.
Did she endorse anybody?
It's gonna be a broke. She dropped out. Everybody dropped out except for it's just Bernie and Biden.
It's Bernie.
and
It's Bernie
Tulsi.
fighting in Tulsi.
Yep.
I didn't
So that's
read
why
the article.
Tulsi might get a look. That might be your best chance. As she get to talk and people want to hear her, she can speak clearly. She don't have broken sentences. She knows where she's at. She's not saying Super Thursday instead of Super Tuesday. She don't look like she had a stroke or nothing like that. You know, so that's the best chance.
Ben, you definitely started your stuff.
I like to see it, like, cause I like to bring out the best. You know, if she can do it, she got some good points, man. Like, believe me, she got some good points. She'll make some good points. She'll raise like the discourse with people. It'll be competition. It's not going to be any competition.
One of the things that the brother Haas said in our audience, he said that the lesser of the two evil stuff, that's old, man. That's old school way of thinking. We can't think of that. So this is what
Trump just beat them with that.
This is what I think.
I just beat them with that.
Oh, somebody hit us with the Carnova virus, Jeff, because you brought it up. They said it's a U.S. biological weapon. The world knows it. The world will respond.
There might not be no election. They might cancel the election, and guess what? Guess who you got as president?
So as long as the coronavirus is only impacting the elderly and those with serious respiratory issues, nothing's going to stop. We're just going to have to find a way to protect the elderly. We're going to get a vaccine. They're going to rush it to the elderly first in 3 months.
So guys, we got
Let's hope
8
that,
months.
because if not, the election going to be canceled.
We have an election in 8 months. I appreciate that, Wolfgang Felix. Appreciate that. Peace, bro. We got 8 months, man, before this thing is decided. Give us a feel, Brad. Give us a feel. You heard me, Brad?
Give you a feel on what's going to happen in the next 8 months. They're going to pull a rabbit out the hat, and they're going to push the vice president, and they're going to try to clean Joe up. That's the only thing they can do now is the vice president try to make the vice president sexy and progressive. It's the only chance they got.
Hey, Jeff, you know what they say. You part of that machine, Jeff. You just on a lower totem pole, but you part of that machine, Jeff. What if I'm the was it Tom Perez, the DNC chair?
Okay.
Give me some advice. What would you do to tell the party to tighten up?
Again, get back to the issues, and you just gotta come up with a better platform and a better plan, and just start preaching it. You know,
in 8 months,
couple simple bullet points, and just start hammering them home.
Hey Jeff, who are you a representative at?
In Union.
Are you a union rep?
Yeah, union rep.
Yeah, just for a district, but
just for his district.
Okay.
Ben.
Yeah.
I know you said Hillary is waiting, coming from behind the closet.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, my guy I follow, Tim Black, says the same thing. He a good YouTube guy. He Bernie supporter, but he says that Hillary is somewhere lurking in the wings as well. Shout out to him because he really give a lot of good information. But anyway, you think it's gonna be her coming out of the woodworks?
Think about it. She's the only one who beat him. I'm the only one to beat him head to head. That's what she's gonna say. That's gonna be her argument. I beat him head to head already. I already beat him. They just cheated me last time. They won't do it again. And then guess what? Everybody on the Democratic team is going to go with it. Hey, Jeff, if that happened, you would go with Hillary Clinton, right? You would have no choice.
Yeah, I would have no choice right now. I mean, it's a better choice.
And you know how many people hate her? But still, that's what they would do.
Not as many that hate Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting scenario, I tell you. Whew. I'm gonna tell you, I'm like the brother Haas in the audience. I don't know if America is ready for a female president. I'll just say this: that I believe that America get a female president, just not Hillary. I am not a fan. I am not.
She's the last one.
I don't consider myself a Republican or a Democrat, but Hillary Clinton and her evil, this is a personal thing, and her evil and what she has done, she single-handedly has, to me, in my personal opinion, she has made this world an unstable place with some of the things that she's done. But that's just me.
I seen a tweet on Twitter the other day. I posted. Did you see it? It's somebody, Chelsea said something about, she was talking about Trump's response to the coronavirus. Somebody replied to her, more people have died behind the coronavirus than, no, your mother has killed more people than the coronavirus has killed thus far. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap this puppy up, man. I appreciate you guys on a Saturday night.
Great
Does
job.
anybody have any last statements or comments they want to add?
Trump 2020.
I wish Anthony Outlook could have came. Anthony was we had a connection thing. Gus,
any other time we talk about females or whatever, anything else to discuss, he up there all day giving his opinion.
Anthony let me down. Anthony let me down today.
Gus was also invited too. Gus is a person, a guy we went to school with that he's a Republican. He's a strong Republican. Ben is just an independent who antagonizes the Democrats.
We give him a lot of material.
So Jeff, you got any final comments? Just your thing is just come out and vote, right?
Vote blue, no matter who.
That's nice. That's nice, catchy phrase. That should be the national slogan. That should go national. Vote blue,
Brad,
no matter who.
Hey Brad, he killed me with that one, yo.
Yeah, your eyes killed. Yeah, you was like, what?
That's a winner though. That's a winning slogan. That's the winning slogan.
You was about to end the line. I thought you was going to end the line. You said, what?
Nah, like
that's the winner.
Listen,
That's the winner.
Listen, and I mean this. Vote for the candidate that's gonna speak to you. If you live in a red state and the red state is good to you, vote for a red candidate. If you live in a blue state and the blue candidate's been good to you, vote for blue. This is my personal opinion because I live in a red state. I mean, it's fluctuating right now.
Guns and God.
But then,
Q lives in a state that determines who's going to win the election.
Jeff, where I live in Pennsylvania is red. Philadelphia is all blue, but around Philadelphia,
Pittsburgh,
swing state.
It is the swing state. I'll tell y'all who's gonna be the president in the middle of October.
Yeah,
trust me. If you want to bet, you can make some money on it because I'll be able to find out. Pennsylvania is always the big state.
So Q, I'm gonna remain in the pickle because I'm gonna always work with the local community. And in order to do that, I have to do that with the local politicians. But I am not going to be confuse anything for too long, and I'm going to remain transparent. And there may become a time in the short future where I tell the Democratic Party, I don't know if I'm voting with you or not. You should I'll work with you, but I'm definitely probably not going to vote with you because at some point, if they're not going to help the poor, if they're not going to help the middle class, then Brad's going to help Brad. And I have to start speaking to people like Benji. Because they will, guys like Benji will influence me to take care of myself sooner than later.
Anybody on YouTube, make sure you hit that like and that subscribe button. I see where we're about to close up the show, but I want to get your comment across. Someone said Trump is a criminal and a serial liar.
We say the pedo.
All I can say is, according to our judicial system, that's not true.
Quid pro Joe.
I just hate. Black people know they've been abused by the justice system. I just hate when we try to convict someone for something they didn't. I'm not allowing nobody to get convicted, black, white, brown, green, for something they didn't do.
The same person said Trump is now at 16,400 lies. Well, like I said, according to the judicial system, Donald Trump has been exonerated of all charges. So,
so is Hillary Clinton. So is Hillary Clinton, right?
And you know what we say, man. At the end of the day, his peers found him. Did they dismiss the charge? What happened with that smoke screen, Benji?
What's that?
The impeachment. What happened with the impeachment? Yo?
They knew they wasn't going to get it past the Senate. You know, it was this all big show, man. What happened with Russian collusion? I mean,
but I do got
the dossier, the dossier Hillary bought. Ain't that treason?
How many convictions? Come on, bud.
Ain't that treason, though? Come on. Is that treason or not?
I do got to say this, though.
She was working with the Russians.
I do got to say this. I want to know what black family Biden can get their son to get a $50,000 a month job to do something they have no experience for, and then say they got that just because, and they didn't, and it wasn't because of his influence.
Excuse me,
about that
Brad.
Those are leadership posts. You could be from any industry and walk in as the CEO, and it's a leadership position. It's like a figurehead, just like the politicians. So the CEOs and board members and stuff, it's not always that he's out there, you know, drilling oil himself. He's in there with the labor and the motivational speaking and stuff like that.
Jeff,
listen, would they say that if that was Trump's son? No, believe me. Would they say that if that was Trump's son out there getting 50,000 a month from Ukraine?
I'm gonna say this.
What was it today? China gave how many patents to his daughter? Come on.
Yeah, but China gave how much money to Joe Biden's son? 1.4 billion. Joe Biden's son got 1.4 billion from China.
See how much the Trumps are making from the U.S. government and
1.4 billion
foreign governments right now. Come on.
I can't tell, man.
Before we
that'd be all over the newspaper. That'd be all in the news right now.
It's all in the news. You just don't read it.
I gotta mute these two guys, Brad. I had to mute them for a minute. I had to mute y'all. Mute y'all just for 2 seconds. Look, just put it like this. Ben, you and Jeff both got y'all mics on. But before we close up, yo, I appreciate y'all. And at the end of the day, in reference to what Brad just brought up, nepotism rules as long as it's not against you. That's the law of the land. That's what goes on. I'm just being honest. Nepotism rules as long as it's not against you. So with that, thanks everybody for joining the show. And Ben needs some feedback. Benji waiting for y'all. He's gonna be around.
Where you at, Atla?